the idea of faith and grace and forgiveness.
Yeah.
Why was that also important for
Well,
you?
first of all, it's a film that's going to come out during the holidays, and it's a film where people begin to think more about being thankful and about being grateful, and that we didn't get here by ourselves. The greatest star in the film is God.
Right.
Because he's the one who ultimately pulls all the pieces together. And I think people who have ever seen God pull you out of the fire, well, whether you're a church person or not, you've had those close calls where, almost every person has said at one time, Lord, if you just get me out of this, I will never do it again. I promise I'll never do it again. You will see that in this story, and I think it's to see it over the holidays when people's families are not perfect and all their bills are not paid and everybody's not in love and roasting chestnuts over an open flame, It shows that you can still have love and you can still have life and have it through the vehicle of being flawed.
Now, faith was important as well in this film. What role does faith play in your life?
I mean, as you can tell, I am definitely in tune with the goodness of God.
Yeah.
He is my source. My life and my career would literally be impossible without God's grace and favor. When you're at a point in your career when you don't think of yourself as the biggest star, because that's not my motivation. I actually don't like a lot of the pressures that come with star power.
Right.
My motivation is just to be the best version of me that I could be. And that's all just not taking my access for granted. My access to God, my relationship. I often say that God is a bully in my life because
Can't get away with anything.
I do it.
That's awesome.
Forgiveness for me is a big part of life, period. There's people that constantly hurt you all day long and don't even know they're doing it. But you have to be, the bigger person and let it go. And it's hard, but that's exactly what drew me.
How do you do that, though?
Well, that takes
Do
a
you
lot
use
of
your
prayer,
faith? That's what I was going to ask.
faith, meditating, and self-evaluation. What did I do wrong in this? Okay, well, let's put this all in, perspective, or put it in a, separate it, and let's look at it. Okay, he did this, she did this, but I allowed it. And then you're able to say, okay, I forgive them. So if I can, that's the only way that God can forgive me, if I release my enemies.
With your background, with your father in the group, what role does faith play in your life, now?
It plays an amazing role. I think being around my grandfather definitely helped a lot too. I think every person in the film sort of related to somebody in my family.
Really?
My grandfather, who in the film, he's a church man. He's always in the church. He's always spitting God or Bible verses, Bible scriptures in the conversation. That's how my grandfather is. He just knows the right things to say. My grandmother is warm and very welcoming and just so just sweet. You know what I mean? And Jennifer, who plays my mom, she's young, beautiful. My mom is young, beautiful, strong, firm. And which is so cool. And I think that all of that tied into it definitely helped out.
The faith element was a beautiful tie into the, how does the faith element matter in your life? How does that work for you personally?
I think it's a big part of, I look at it even when I work, I look at as if when I'm going into a role or something, I'm sort of jumping off into almost like a darkness, and I'm trusting. The line, I'm trusting that if there's no floor beneath me, that my wings will carry me through.
That's beautiful.
I'm always thinking that, when I'm working. So.
Really? That's interesting. You wouldn't
surrender.
think that.
I think at a certain point in my work, I surrender to what's occurring, and it's that surrender which is a frightening thing, but that carries me through. I believe.
You believe. What I loved was how unapologetic this film was about themes of faith and grace and forgiveness. What aspect does that have in your life?
Oh, absolutely, huge impact.
Mm-hmm.
I know how important that it is others. You know, I think if you know, always, I mean, because I think, you know, the life that I live, you know, growing up single parent, father not there, why trying to reconnect, why this doesn't happen, you know, it's so much sometimes I've had to just, from time to time, you just have to, instead of holding on to it, you just have to, I don't know, let it roll off your shoulders because it could be a weight in your life that holds you back.
How do you do
and
that?
You know, I think maybe it's been interesting or easy for me, you know, being an actress a lot of times. As an actress, I'm so interested in humanity and in human beings and why we do what we do and the choices that we, you know, as an actor, you know, making choices, the choices that we make as human beings. So a lot of times I'm like, that's interesting, you know. So, and I had a professor once who said he knew I was in a situation and he was directing me in something and said something that potentially could be harmful, but he said use it, you know, in developing this character. Use that experience here. Make it good for something. Because it really was just awful.
Right.
Use that. Put that into this character. And make this work that you do as an actor. I have an opportunity to work it out on stage.
That's beautiful.